Burgess went on Banfield on News Nation, and he revealed that he was given 11 flash drives that contain alleged sex tapes involving Combs and celebrities. And he said, of the 8 celebrities on the tapes, those who are victims of Sean Combs, they're not perpetrators, victims, he said 2 or 3 were minors, which, as you know, is consistent with a number of allegations in the civil lawsuits that Sean Combs is currently facing. To be clear, though, Combs is currently not criminally charged with anything with respect to minors. That could change, but right now, he's just charged with trafficking, racketeering, transportation to engage in prostitution, but all with respect to adult victims. If there's a superseding indictment, he gets hit with new charges, possibly about victims. We shall see.
To understand the shockwave that this courtroom video caused, we first need to understand who's at the center of it all. Sean Diddy Combs, also known as Puff Daddy or P. Diddy, has been one of the most powerful figures in American hip-hop culture for over 3 decades. More than just a rapper, he's a music producer, fashion designer, entrepreneur, and was once featured on Forbes' list of black billionaires. Diddy wasn't just the mastermind behind Bad Boy Records. He was the force behind the rise of artists like Notorious B.I.G., Mary J., Blige, Cassie, and Maze. To the public, he embodied the perfect blend of musical talent and sharp business instincts, the ultimate mogul. But behind the scenes, Diddy's image was never entirely clean. He's long been rumored to live a life of excess, throwing wild parties and engaging in high-profile, controversial relationships. For years, whispers circulated in the media about exclusive, no-camera, invite-only parties thrown by Diddy, events with no press, no rules, and no boundaries. These stories remained in the shadows, until Cassie, his former girlfriend of nearly 10 years, stepped into the light with allegations that shocked the industry. And that marked the beginning of a legal unraveling that led to the trial we're about to dive into. If you enjoy stories like this, don't forget to subscribe for more. The situation became even more gripping when Diddy's children, who had stayed silent throughout the chaos, suddenly appeared in court with somber expressions. It left the public wondering, is this a sign that the family is beginning to fracture? Or were they, too, unaware of what their powerful father may have been hiding for decades? Everything started to feel like the beginning of a story more intense than any Hollywood film.
So Sean Diddy Combs, looking to suppress evidence in his federal trial. Senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky is back with the story. Good morning again, Aaron.
And to you, Michael. You'll remember federal agents from Homeland Security Investigations were hardly shy when they raided Sean Combs' opulent homes in Los Angeles and Miami, guns drawn. The jailed music mogul now argues those searches and other searches of his iCloud accounts, electronic devices, and New York City hotel room following his arrest were unconstitutional. His lawyers argue evidence obtained through those searches must be suppressed. Diddy's lawyers say the government presented a grossly distorted picture of reality when applying for the search warrants, omitting certain facts and including salacious details from an unnamed producer that were never credible. Combs has pleaded not guilty to racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and prostitution charges. The defense is also arguing here his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, was a willing participant in drug-fueled sex performances called freak-offs, not coerced, as prosecutors allege. This latest challenge to his case comes 3 months before trial, and as Combs loses one of his attorneys, Anthony Rico says under no circumstances can he continue to represent Combs. He offered no details about that decision, Robin.
Well, that morning, outside the federal courthouse in Manhattan, the crowd kept growing. Reporters jostled for position, cameras aimed at the entrance, knowing that anyone who walked through those doors could instantly become national news. The air was thick with tension, so palpable it seemed to weigh down every breath. Then, a surprise appearance made every lens whip around. Diddy's 3 daughters, Chance, Delilah, and Jessie, walked up alongside their older brother Justin. It was the first time the younger members of the Combs family had publicly shown up for a court proceeding involving their father. They didn't speak. Their faces were blank, their silence louder than words.
We need you to step to the side. Step to the side, please.
Yes, give us a little space. Give us a little space. Give us a little space.
Inside the courtroom, the gallery was packed. The whispers had barely settled when prosecutor Rachel Harper, a seasoned attorney known for taking on high-profile abuse cases, stood and addressed the court. With a stern demeanor and cold eyes behind thin glasses, she spoke clearly. Please describe for the court what a freak-off is and what your role was in those events. The entire room fell silent, as if everyone had paused to take a collective breath.
And now we're learning about the supplies that were apparently used in the freak-offs. Again, the star witness is Cassandra Ventura. She and Diddy were in a relationship for 10 years. It ended in 2018. Cassie sued Diddy in 2023, and he settled that suit the very next day. That lawsuit was a major spark to the story that has brought us to what's playing out in court right now. This week, we heard Cassie tell her story to the jury. She says that Combs beat her, berated her, and forced her to take part in what has been called freak-offs. They're alleged drug-fueled sex parties involving escorts. Cassie said they were mentally and physically exhausting. She claimed that the freak-offs often left her with sores, UTIs, and needing IVs to recover. The jury has seen pictures of injuries from the relationship, Cassie says, like bloody lips and black eyes that she claims that Diddy gave her when they were together. The jury has also seen a video of Diddy assaulting Cassie in the hallway of an LA hotel in 2016 that was leaked to CNN. That's been seen by millions of people. That video, Cassie testified, shows her trying to escape a freak-off party. Now, the jury has also heard testimony from Cassie about the physical toll that she said freak-off parties had on her. This is an exchange from the transcript. When she was speaking with the prosecution, she said, quote, "Occasionally, I would get sores on my tongue from the freak-offs, the taking drugs, substances, and just friction in my mouth." She says that friction wasn't just from oral sex, but also from having her mouth on things covered with oil and other lubricants. The jury, we know, has seen an image from the freak-offs, but we don't know what that image really looks like. Our reporter, who has been in the courtroom every day, says it was only shown to jurors. It was not shown to those who have been sitting in the gallery. The defense, in its cross-examination, has been having Cassie read dozens of text messages that she and Combs sent to each other during their relationship. Messages like this one, trying to show that she was a willing participant in the freak-offs. Combs asks, quote, "When do you want to freak off, LOL?" And then Cassie replies, "LOL, I am just going up to change and put my ring in. I just picked it up. I'm always ready to freak off, LOL. LOL. The defense is trying to paint Combs and Ventura's relationship as one that was far more loving and consensual than Cassie's testimony presented thus far, and also prove that she wasn't forced to be part of the freak-offs, but she was a willing participant, and beyond that, she often organized them, they say. That she was the one who contacted the escorts often and put these things together.
The room was completely silent. No one said a word. But everyone knew this was just the beginning of even darker revelations. All eyes, especially those of Diddy's 3 daughters, were locked on Cassie, as if they were hearing the story of a man they never truly knew.
Cassie told the jury that Diddy forced her into drug-fueled sex acts with male escorts while he watched, sometimes sitting in the corner and masturbating. Through tears, she said she took drugs to numb herself, ecstasy, and ketamine, all of it allegedly supplied by Diddy. She said the freak-offs included as many as 4 male escorts at once and typically lasted 36 to 72 hours. The longest, she said, the longest freak-off that she says she was forced to perform in lasted 4 days. She said they took place around the world, from New York to Miami to Spain, to even Turks and Caicos. And at every stop, Cassie said the hotel rooms were stocked by Diddy's staff with baby oil, condoms, and drugs. And she says that these hotel rooms, this is disgusting, the hotel rooms were left covered in baby oil and covered in blood and covered in urine. Cassie told the jury that the freak-offs made her feel disgusting and humiliated and worthless, but she said she couldn't say no because she says Diddy threatened to release videos of the freak-offs with her.
Right after Cassie's heart-wrenching testimony, the prosecution presented a piece of physical evidence that made the courtroom freeze: a hard drive. Its label simply read, "Private Archive 2009." No one in the room knew exactly what it contained, but the weight of the moment was undeniable when the prosecutor asked the judge for permission to play a clip from it. The judge approved. A large screen was lowered, the lights dimmed, and the truth began to unfold, in shaky, grainy footage that was still clear enough to silence the room. The video lasted less than 2 minutes, but the impact was immeasurable. It showed one of the infamous freak-offs held in a lavish mansion, the kind frequented by celebrities and insiders of the entertainment world. According to metadata from the hard drive, there were at least 8 such videos, and this was just one. 6 men, 2 women, all semi-nude. Dim lighting, loud music. The scene looked like a disturbing blend of luxury and horror. But what changed everything was when a woman stepped into the frame, one whom many in the courtroom swore bore a striking resemblance to Kim Porter. Kim Porter, a model, actress, and longtime partner of Diddy, was also the mother of 4 of his children. She had passed away in 2018 from pneumonia. At the time, her death was considered sudden but not suspicious. However, when someone who looked just like Kim appeared in the video, Diddy's daughters visibly broke down. Delilah, the oldest of the 3, quickly reached over to cover her younger sister Jessie's eyes, while Chance froze in place. Within seconds, all 3 clung to each other, stood up, and quietly left the courtroom in tears. This wasn't a Hollywood scene. These were real images, real emotions, real pain. And the question that haunted many was this: if the video wasn't authentic, why did the daughters, who would recognize their own mother better than anyone, react as if they had just seen a ghost? The prosecution said nothing more. They let the video speak for itself. But the expressions on the faces around the room, from lawyers and judges to reporters, were filled with doubt, fear, and unease. Because if the footage was real, and if the woman truly was Kim Porter, then this case wasn't just about sex, power, or abuse. It was a doorway into something much deeper, a possible conspiracy where secrets weren't just buried under money, but maybe even sealed with someone's life.
You seen how Albie Shore, he came out saying that Kim Porter death needs to be looked into?
I think that Al being his ex-wife, he have every right, knowing about the stuff that came out about Diddy and what he was doing. You understand, what he has done in the past, and people have overlooked it. By him coming out and saying that he hoped that he could get her case reopened. There was a guy called John Paperwork, the Paperwork Party. They would put in an open petition to get Kim's case reopened. You understand what I'm saying? So I'll be sure doing this is showing that, you know, he still got love for Quincy's mother. He still want to find out the truth, because allegedly Kim was fine the day before and the day of her death. And then now she found in the bed dead from pneumonia. That just don't sound right, bro. That don't sound right at all.
So you feel the same way about her death being suspect?
I don't think nobody in America thinks nothing suspicious about Kim's death, bro. If you are rich like that, you could, you know, Kim had, I think a net worth of like, what, 12 million a year or something like that? Kim could have called any doctor to come over and look at her. If she was that bad, you know, she could have called an ambulance or something like that. Everything is suspicious about her death, bruh.
The impact of the video didn't end in the courtroom. It spread like wildfire, igniting a storm of controversy across social media. Reddit threads, Twitter timelines, and TikTok videos were flooded with speculation. One name kept coming up over and over: Kim Porter. No one could officially confirm that the woman in the video was Kim, but the eyes, the body language, even the faint voice heard off camera led many to believe it was her. What made the situation even more explosive was the revelation that the hard drive didn't just contain videos. It also included a draft of a memoir, titled Kim's Memoirs. According to the prosecution, the manuscript was nearly 80 pages long and described in disturbing detail the so-called freak-off parties and the dark secrets lurking behind the glamour of the entertainment world. The content reportedly outlined themes of control, abuse, and an underground network that catered to the powerful elite of the industry. But the big question was, did Kim Porter actually write it? Almost immediately after news of the manuscript leaked, all 4 of Kim's children, including the 3 daughters who had just been in court, issued a joint statement denying its authenticity. They insisted that Kim never wrote a memoir. Family members claimed she was extremely private and never discussed her past relationships, especially not with Diddy. They believed the manuscript was a fake, possibly a fabricated piece designed to either derail the case or serve the agenda of someone with a stake in its outcome. Another theory began to take hold, that the manuscript was actually created by Diddy himself, or someone within his inner circle, as a strategic move to blur the line between victim and accomplice. If the public could be convinced that Kim had willingly taken part in these parties, the weight of the accusations would begin to feel less clear-cut. Some legal analysts suggested that, if true, this would represent a highly manipulative and dangerous form of narrative control. But the prosecution wasn't easily thrown off course. They enlisted a team of handwriting analysts and digital forensics experts to examine the original file's metadata, looking into when it was created, what software was used, and whether the content could be verified. Early findings indicated that the document was not created while Kim was alive, at least based on its digital fingerprint. But even that raised new questions. Was it a forgery? Or simply a scan of something she had handwritten long ago? Meanwhile, online investigators and internet sleuths started digging into Kim Porter's past. Some brought up the sudden nature of her death in 2018, which had officially been attributed to pneumonia. But an old article resurfaced, revealing that Kim had once confided in a close friend that she felt like someone was watching her, and that she was holding on to a few secrets. At the time, no one thought much of it, but in light of the current events, every word from her past began to carry a new weight.
How is it that you know how we are as a people? I don't believe that 10% of your viewers that's watching this don't keep their phone when they go to sleep in arm reach. How is it that there was no electronic products or gadgets around Kim's bed? Her laptop missing, her cell phone's missing. Everything is missing that she could get in touch with her little girls if they not at home, or her friends or family. All that's missing. How is it that, and this is her say, that the detectives did not even view the body in the bed where she died at? That the coroner them had already removed her, pronounced her dead, and told the detectives them that it was no foul play. And if that is true, as I've heard it, and we read certain things on the internet about it, that case need to be reopened. We know that Kim, and it's in the this is in the documentation. Shout out to Paperwork, at the Paperwork part. I gotta shout him out, man, because he looked in the paperwork and it said Kim received a massage for about an hour when she's supposed to have full-blown pneumonia. Who gives somebody a massage when they got pneumonia?
What was the truth? What lies were still cloaking this case? These questions pushed the trial into the spotlight not just of Hollywood, but of an entire society. Some even began calling it a modern-day Hollywood Babylon, a place where fame, power, sex, and silence intersected on a stage where truth was often buried under layers of wealth and influence. Right after the courtroom screening of the video, a wave of polarized reactions exploded, not just in the media, but across the entire entertainment industry and online communities. On one side, a strong movement of support for Cassie and other potential victims quickly emerged. Protest signs began popping up outside the courthouse with slogans like "Justice for Cassie," "Protect Black Women," and "Expose the Industry." Protesters stood for hours in the freezing New York air, demanding transparency and justice for women who had been harmed by powerful men in the entertainment world. Unexpectedly, Cassie also received quiet support from several female celebrities who had worked in the industry. While some didn't speak out publicly, they posted subtle messages on their Instagram stories, using music, quotes, or symbolic images to express solidarity. Even a few former models and singers who had once worked under Bad Boy Records began liking or reposting stories about the trial, a clear sign of silent unity within the industry. But there was also a powerful backlash. Many of Diddy's loyal fans refused to believe any of it. Some accused Cassie of using the media to revive a dead career. On YouTube and various podcasts, hosts floated theories that the entire case was a setup, orchestrated by Diddy's rivals to sabotage his comeback, just as he was preparing to relaunch several music and business ventures post-pandemic. They asked, why had Cassie held onto the video for over 15 years? Why release it now? Meanwhile, Diddy's legal team quickly held a press conference to refute all allegations. They described the evidence as potentially manipulated and stressed that every testimony must be evaluated through the lens of the law, not emotion. One attorney even stated bluntly, Diddy is not a perfect man. But he's not the monster the media is trying to create. Things got even murkier when several of Diddy's high-profile associates began to go silent. Notable figures like Jay-Z, DJ Khaled, and Pharrell Men, often seen alongside Diddy at award shows and industry events, suddenly avoided mentioning his name in recent interviews. What followed was a wave of what many described as strategic silence. Observers noted that in the world of showbiz, silence can sometimes speak louder than words. It's a way to quietly distance oneself and protect personal brand image from a scandal that could trigger a domino effect. All of these conflicting reactions, from the outspoken supporters to the skeptical doubters, have converged on this trial as though it were the final act of a massive drama. A stage where the spotlight doesn't just illuminate the lead character, but also casts light on the darkest corners of an industry long thought to be glittering and untouchable. If you believe stories like this deserve to be told, leave a comment below. Are you standing with Cassie? Or do you still support Diddy? Share your thoughts respectfully, because it's these conversations that bring us one step closer to a fairer society. Don't forget to like the video if you found the information valuable, and hit subscribe so you don't miss what comes next, because this might only be the beginning of a much longer story. And if you truly want to help spread the truth, share this video with your friends. Sometimes, all it takes is one person asking the hard questions to start shaking the system.